That song sounded more like it was out of Baraka than out of anything else. If we're going to do that, we might as well do Stream Beats ambience. But I think that, jazz can probably, well, we don't have the usual blue thing going on, so it is a little bit different here. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, a.k.a. MultimediaJay. And I didn't think I was going to be doing this stream tonight. But the truth of the matter is that here we are. So things didn't quite go the way that I thought they would go for Wednesday night. My plans were to come home after a very short night with the 9-to-5ers and then do a gaming stream of a new game that I've thrown around some hints as to what it might be, but I'm not going to spoil it. It's not going to be ESO. We're going to try something where it would be completely stupid if I didn't stream that game at least once. But the thing with streaming is that streaming, especially with what I've seen with, the daytime folks who stop by and things along those lines, live streaming on YouTube, you really got to think about specifically the fact that YouTube is about a quarter the size of Twitch in terms of stream hours, or in terms of streaming hours watched. So it's a much smaller audience. And of course, YouTube's working on the UI problems that keep streamers from being more watched on YouTube. But even though they're fixing some of their problems right now, why isn't this fan staying up? But even though YouTube is working on that, now it's too high. Like that should be good. Looking for a mixture of airflow and down fan duty so that the heat that comes out of the successor to Old Clunky can get blown down towards the floor properly. But at the same time, I want some airflow over here. So part of this chair, I don't know what the deal is. I have wheels on it. I don't have coasters anymore. It shouldn't be getting stuck. I think it's the rug. This rug is garbage. Now, I've been running this rug into the ground for like 2 years. I got to cut it up, get it disposed of with the trash disposal, and get something new in here. The problem is Target stopped making the rug that I wanted to get. I wanted to get it. There was a special kind of like blue rug that Target used to sell, 4 by 6 foot. And it had rubber on the bottom instead of the plasticky stuff that Walmart rugs have. The problem I have with these rugs on the hard floors in here is that plastic thing gets destroyed by all the, riding around and stuff. So you end up with this white plastic dust all over your floor. So I want something with more of a rubber bottom. The problem is only like small throw rugs usually have that. Target was the one exception, and now it looks like I'm gonna have to buy it online and see what the shipping cost is gonna be. I don't think they sell it on Amazon or anything. I just gotta check the material on the bottom. I mean, when I was in college, I used to have an all cloth rug, which was basically, it's like a dog blanket of sorts. If I could find one of those, it's big enough to cover the floor here, I'd probably just go with that again. But it's just, I don't need chair mats if I have wheels on my chairs. But at the same time, this rug is so shot that the chair keeps getting caught on the edge of it. So trying to figure it all out, because if it's just the hard floor, the chair moves around way too easily. Anyways, is this thing glitching out again? I don't know. So, all right, is anybody even here? There's activity as if someone just ducked in, hit like, and then left. The average watch time is only 13 seconds. So, oh, here we go. Yeah. When is YouTube ever going to fix this counter? Half the time I look at it, it drops to 0 no matter what the number is. So it's just like live control room. I mean, there's coming up on 2 years since I last heard about an update to live control room. Or maybe it's pulling a Twitch. Oh, see, there it goes again. Or maybe it's pulling a Twitch and it's counting me running my display as a so-called viewer, giving false hope to somebody who's normally just recording YouTube videos by streaming on here. At least at this hour anyways, 2:34 at the Geek House. But I want to talk about some stuff that's been going on, and specifically stuff related to this channel, and whether or not I'm going to shut down the channel in the near future. There, see? Why are you thinking about that stuff? There you go. There you go. The antagonism and the hatred that's a thing on YouTube towards YouTubers who step out of line, and the mobbing that goes on because of that, is ridiculous. So many people on YouTube with their heads stuck in the past. It's insane. Stream Beats ambient go down to like 7% like an old tech video or something. Let's talk about what happened first. We'll talk about the more, where the whole thing with the channel and stuff later. So what happened? I was looking to do some game streams tonight. Why is this controller getting in the way no matter where I put this thing? So here's the thing. And now the mouse is getting snagged. For wanting to free up space with this the remote is getting in the way. For wanting to free up space with this TV, I'm still having problems with free space on this desk. So here's the situation. Now, the way things have been going for the last couple of weeks, Wednesday has been our smallest night of the week. It's the dead zone. It's basically the dead period of the year with the 9-to-5ers. So it's easy, very easy to get out of work early and come home and work on stuff. I've just been coming home and watching streamers, though. For some reason, even with less running around, I'm still really tired, and I even have trouble speaking when I stream like this for whatever reason. Just no energy. Probably because there's not a lot of cardio. I got to run around a bit more. Logan589XP says he's here, but he's a minute behind. That's weird because... That's very weird because this is in low latency, not normal latency, which makes me wonder just how bad is YouTube's normal latency these days. Probably a good thing for PvP games and stuff, but... So here's what happened. We are supposed to, if this had gone, restart Winamp. Something's not right with that thing there. Oh, it's even looking like that too. Restart it. It looks weird even in the app level. It's not something OBS is doing. Oh, it's just that quiet of a song. It's not showing the levels because there's no levels to begin with. Can I click on it and get like a waveform? No, I don't think we need that. Let's see. We broke it with all this quiet music. Yeah, there's a couple of things here and there because it's just something really quiet. I could put it up to 10 if we really wanted to. Doesn't have to be all that crazy. 10 will do. So yeah, tonight what happened was we should have been an early night. However, the manager's been talking about what's going on next week. So because it's the dead season and whatnot, what we have going on here is every other week, either day shift or night shift gets the option of a 3-day weekend. This week is night shift's turn, but next week we actually have more stuff going on. There's some kind of sales promo going on. There'll be more to do, more hours, more money. But this week was pretty dull, so to put it nicely. So instead of cutting into whatever's going on next week, they came up with a plan so that we could have Thursday night off. Usually when you want to put in for time off, you're required to give at least 24 hours notice. This is one of the rare times that we were able to do this without 24 hours notice. So we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. We have a 3-day weekend for that sort of thing. So what I'm looking to do, and also what's on the table, is month-long, 2-week to 4-week furloughs for when it's really dead after this sales period is over with. So I'm running the numbers on that. I gotta be able to concentrate. I know the music's cool and all, but put it down to 7% so I'm not shouting over what's supposed to be quiet music to begin with. And turn down the masters as well. So here's the situation with all of that. Connecticut, when you have these little furloughs and stuff, you don't have to go to work for like a month. However, you gotta, you sign up and collect unemployment because you're temporarily laid off. The problem is that Connecticut unemployment is based on your previous, up to about a couple months before when you lose your job in terms of wages that they calculate your weekly benefits on. So what that basically means is that the weekly benefits will be calculated based on the old wage. The way it's set up now is we get whatever raise we're going to get for years of service and other stuff. Oh, I'm deliberately behind because I joined a little late. Oh, you're running in DVR mode. That's something I keep forgetting with YouTube streaming. Ah, that's what it is. I can disable DVR mode and force people to watch the live show, but no, that's the thing. That's one of the problems, too, is that YouTube chat doesn't necessarily have to be live chat because of this. If someone's watching in DVR mode, they might forget and type something and like, oh, that was like 10 minutes ago in the stream. So, yeah, so here's the situation with them. Well, I guess I got to take that into account. Twitch doesn't have that, so imagine these Twitch streamers coming over here, streaming on YouTube and getting confused by that. So the situation with this is that you get your annual raise if you get one, and then that's when during the dead season, right before the dead season, I think. So if you decide to do the furlough and get time off from work that way and like do 2 to 4 weeks of whatever the heck you want and then just collect unemployment or work another job or something, if you get those 2 to 4 weeks off, it's based on your prior year's wages, and Connecticut has a limit on how much you can get as well. It's like $700 or so total for max benefits. I've traditionally found the other part of that is too, though, that it's calculated based on, sometimes it's calculated based on after-tax stuff or something like that, or if you type the wrong number in. It's basically, I've never known this to be all that great. You basically have had to turtle, absent the pandemic, when there was supplemental pandemic unemployment, you basically had to turtle in place. It's just a thing where you want to be lazy around the house, pay your bills a bit, and then not have to go to work for a month. This is how you do it. So it's the sort of thing where you want to be saving up when there's more overtime and more hours and stuff going on, and we've definitely done better with that. Not as much overtime, but definitely more regular hours. So this is the sort of thing, though, where there's always going to be a catch to it. Most of what you're gaining from those week-long furloughs is free time. Money-wise, you're going to fall behind. You know, probably not too far behind, but you're still going to take a hit. So it's a matter of, I mean, if I had a work commute, like before I moved to this house, if I had a work commute, then this would matter more because I wouldn't have like burning gas every single day. But if you live close to where you work, then it just means less, especially when I don't take highways anymore. Just toot on down the road a couple of miles and I'm there, because it's all small towns out here. And you go to the edge of the small towns, there's the industrial parks where all the warehouse places are. So it's kind of cool, you know? Great way to avoid stress, unless there's some whack job trying to cause a traffic jam in a small town for some strange reason. So yeah, it was supposed to be like half night, come home, stream game streams. But what happened was, because the brass wanted us to be able to take tomorrow night off, we wound up doing closer to a full night. Got home at 11 o'clock, and I really don't want to be streaming games in the middle of the night. I know West Coast dropped 3 hours. It would be more like primetime West Coast. But like I don't want to be too far into the middle of the night with streaming with the way things are. So Logan, you're here because 1, 12, 11:42, you're burning the midnight oil. But I just don't want a situation where it just feels like I am like I would say the Johnny Carson of streamers, but that's my dad's generation. So the late night TV of streamers here. I do know some night streamers. Vindalia is one of them, of course. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, I look at the things that show me when all the people that like my stuff on YouTube is online. It would be better if I streamed in the early afternoon, but that's too early for me being a night shift guy. So I'm thinking evening would probably be a good time for a lot of streaming, especially if you want to do game streaming. Now, early evening, you know, when the neighborhood quiets down, jump on here. Hey, Sam, what's going on? Yeah, get involved, especially with the game I want to play. The game that I want to play next is going to be the sort of game where it can get really hilarious if chat gets involved. And it's not a game that I have a lot of experience. Actually, I have next to no experience playing it other than figure out the controls. So it's the sort of thing where streaming it would probably be incredibly hilarious because chat can get involved as well. And we can just have a ball with this thing. I mean, I know I'm telling stories when I stream ESO, but this is the sort of thing where it can be more of an interactive thing. I would do it over on Twitch, but Twitch still kind of rubs me the wrong way with their banned streamer rules, so I don't know. But anyways, I'll leave the guesswork to the stuff that I mentioned on Twitter and in the community post and stuff like that as to what it's going to be. But that's the thing with all of this other stuff with what happened tonight. Supposed to be home early. Managers flipped everything around, so instead we're going to do game streams probably early to mid-evening US East for Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday too, who knows. I don't really have much to do. Actually, no, I went tonight and took care of what little grocery shopping I need to do because I did too much last week. Now I got to figure out what to do if I spring for this furlough that they have here. So before I talk about the channel specifically and the more looking forward things, let's look at the here and now for this kind of stuff as well, with what's going on with the tech, not even the tech videos, but with what's going on with this furlough period. So last year I had some very lofty goals for 2021 and I didn't hardly make any progress. A lot of that is because I injured my back at the beginning of the year. So we had a lot of furniture going out. So I woke up one morning with what I now know is L5 disc pain lower back. So it's real easy. If you bend too much in your 20s and 30s, it's real easy to end up with back pain in that area. It's the lower back. So now if you do a little too much things here and there, you can actually injure the disc and stuff. I actually know some guys that are around my age, pushing 40. Well, now to me, it's the tune of weeks. I actually know some folks around my age who've had like multiple back surgeries and staples bolted into their backs and stuff like that. So to have like one disc acting up, and I just basically use arthritis-y, Tylenol-y type stuff, acetaminophen, the real name of the stuff, whatever. Even though I don't have arthritis, that keeps it in check and lets me. And plus, I've been actually bulking up a bit with the furniture lately because I've been trying to use more of my arms, less of my back. So, I mean, I pick up like a 75-pound thing of chair mats, like I'm pumping a weight or something like that. It's kind of cool. I'm starting to notice I might need bigger sleeves on the shirts that I wear at the rate I'm going, or start wearing athletic shirts or something to this job. What I don't have is cardio, though. That might explain my lack of energy. There really isn't the kind of sustained walking or running or something that I could get from like a bike or something, or riding the fat bike around the neighborhood. It is a perfect time for it. Late winter, a little bit of snow left on the ground. So I might do that. If I take the furlough for that sort of thing. But here's the issue. This is where you get down to the brass tacks of my involvement as a YouTuber. Previously, I talked about, do I even want to still be... Here's the thing. A lot of... Well, one thing at a time here. 2021, I couldn't do what I wanted to do because of a bunch of extra medical appointments because of the back injury. 2022, I want it to be the absolute opposite of that. I want to be able to come home and side hustle it up with videos, streams, and the whole 9 yards, working on stream assets, and trying to take a crack at trying to figure out the balance between videos and streams on YouTube, because YouTube technically gives you a little of everything these days. Being a YouTuber in 2022 is very different than being a YouTuber a couple of years ago. So you have videos, streams, and short form is the big one. I'm hearing all this talk about YouTube Shorts, done a few. The algorithm has played with them or not played with them, just like regular videos. I also have involvement on TikTok, but I'm nervous about further involvement on TikTok because TikTok is getting a reputation for algorithm banning people for stupid reasons. People are getting their TikToks banned for really stupid reasons because of some false positive from a flagging system, or some algorithm thought they were doing something TOS when they weren't. So much like the case with, well, worse than YouTube. YouTube had it where people abused flag systems. Fidget spinner. So 2017, right? YouTube had it to where people abused flag systems years ago, but it wasn't really the case where some robot would magically ban you out of nowhere. That was more of a Facebook thing when Facebook was chasing after YouTube. But nowadays, apparently TikTok is becoming known for that. And I'm hearing people getting perma-banned from TikTok for really stupid reasons. So it's just the sort of thing that where you see why they got banned, and you're like, that was a robot. There's no way a human being would actually do that. And that's why, I'm not a big fan of the whole NFT scene and stuff like that, because it's the Wild West, and it really isn't, we really haven't kind of drawn up the rules of the road for that yet. It's a little too much weird stuff still going on there. But Web3 technology, in terms of decentralizing and re-democratizing the internet, I think is something I can get behind, because you look at these ivory tower services like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, stuff like that, where some large tech company with way too much power determines whether or not you get to be a content creator, and sometimes for frivolous reasons with zero support afterwards if they get something wrong. I see it on Twitter all the time. Of course, there are scammers and spammers that lose channels, and some of them are so pathetically bad at English that literally their tweets at Team YouTube are copy pastas. I can do a Twitter search for their exact words and see multiple accounts saying the exact same thing to Team YouTube, and I'll be like, oh yeah, they shut down a spam ring, woo! So, but it's something I can get behind. It really is, because, quite frankly, what made YouTube great was the ability of individuals to express themselves. And yeah, the internet has a disinformation problem, but the reason why the internet has a disinformation problem is because people don't know how to properly filter what they're being told. I mean, what's happening on the internet right now could happen in the offline world easily, and it has. You know why? Because I've experienced the offline version of disinformation, where somebody tries to jack your emotions to get you to turn your brain off and not think critically about something. It happened in the online world, or in the offline world, but now it's suddenly a problem that it's happening on the internet. as if it has never existed before in human civilization. Buy my NFTs. No thanks. No thanks. That's NFTs are a bubble. That bubble will burst once things become more mature. And we're already seeing it with some folks too with that kind of stuff. But meme away all you want about that, especially if you want to joke about MS Paint gorillas or something along those lines. But that's the thing. That's the thing with all of this, though, is that the world could really use a return to what made YouTube great, and that is the ability to express yourself and actually meet people. And that's why, from a fundamental perspective, when it comes to my involvement with YouTube or in Twitch streamer chats or on Discord communities, what I'm looking for is content creators who actually believe in, the whole making friends and colleagues side of it. Really basic socialization, not some giant scheme to grow a channel to 50,000 subscribers or something, or some kind of uppity-up thing, especially when people's numbers are sinking because of the pandemic bubble bursting in a lot of areas. What I'm looking for is, why does it sound like that's at 100% volume? Let me check something with my sound. Am I still in YouTube video mode where advanced? Oh, it doesn't have that. I was wondering if there was a volume normalizer turned on. But the Yeti Nano doesn't actually have that. Yeah, there was a firmware update to the microphone that changed how volumes work. So I have a really hard time, not talking over my music these days because of that. It's just it fundamentally changed how the volume works. It used to be the case that this little knob on here, the little knob on the Yeti Nano that you see if you get a screenie of it or something, the little button that these things have would control only how loud things were in the headset, but now it controls the master volume for the computer, which I don't want. I might switch off to Elgato at some point, which has more mixer controls and software and stuff like that, and put this Yeti thing off to the side as a backup. But it's not something I'm really all that enthused by when you don't have the proper control over what's in your headphones versus what the audience is hearing. So let's see. We were talking about the here and now with the channel. All right. So I have a big decision to make, though, because a lot of the reasons why I'm able to do what it is that I do is because I'm with this company that I'm with. So it's a place where your hours can flex up and down. You can stay and get more hours if you want to make more money. Or you can work on a side hustle because you have regular opportunities to leave early when things aren't busy. So, it's not really a 40-hour job. It's like 30 to 40 depending on how busy everything is. But I ran the numbers. With the wage increases we've gotten, I could do like 25 hours a week and still turtle in place and have it be worth more than a lot of unemployment stuff that I've gotten. But I think at this point I would value the free time to make up for what happened last year more than the money. But that's if I take that route. So here's the wild card in all of this. It's about the free time versus the money. Other artists will utilize NFTs. Are you actually going to talk about the conversation related to the channel, or are you just going to try and mess around with NFTs? No, because I'm not going to do anything with NFTs anytime soon. Maybe not to the tune of years. So if you're looking to mess with me on NFTs, you came to the wrong channel. So there's a couple of people that I sharply disapprove of who are up to their eyeballs in NFTs, and yeah, that they were basically my warning lesson to not bother with them. So if you want to play one-man spam games, we can time you out. So it's just, regardless of anything related to the weird world of NFTs, though, let's get to the topic at hand here. The reason why I'm able to even be a YouTuber right now with everything that's going on is the job. That's basically it. There's places where I can make more money, and people will be like, "Oh, he cares about money and stuff." I've gotten that feedback over the years since joining the YouTube Partner Program and since starting up a Patreon. I've been on the receiving end of this hatred that exists on YouTube towards creators trying to monetize their work. It doesn't really exist as much on Twitch. Why do people keep going to Twitch? Well, there's one reason for it. But these guys, this is the thing with this, though. What these people don't realize who've hated this stuff for years is that they are pushing for YouTube to become a boring commercial wasteland with all commercial stuff and all big channels, and the little guy no longer exists, and your YouTube channels all start looking like each other because it's big established creators and there's really no way to join them. That's really what they've been pushing for, because one of the things you have to realize in life is little something called opportunity costs, and something you should think about no matter what job you have anywhere, is that by working an hourly wage job or a salaried job or something, you are selling your life for money. And every time there's money in play, if you know anything about formal business type stuff, you got to think about opportunity cost. What else could you have done with that money or that time or something? When you put up with that horrible excuse for a retail boss to make $10 an hour working at Walmart a couple of years ago before they started raising their wages, you are selling hours of your life for $10. What does that sound like? And then there's, how about crappy low-wage job, and there isn't anything to do half the time because you're just bored because you're just like, working as a security guard or something, and nothing happens 90% of the time. You have to be ready to spring into action for the other 10% of the time anything actually happens. It's like, is that really what you want to do with yourself? I mean, I realize my generation, the millennials and whatnot, especially the even older folks like myself, we kind of define this whole, I don't just want to punch a time clock. I want to do something in my life that has meaning to it and feel like when I'm old and dying that I didn't waste my life. It's not a matter of, punching a clock, kissing the boss's ass, and hoping you get to have a career because they stoop down to you and let you actually amount to something. It's about taking your place in the world. There's even a song about that in 1990 called Place in This World. A little before my time, as generation-wise, but some people could relate to it. It's an old Michael W. Smith song. It used to be on light rock radio and stuff like that back then, when my folks had that insane obsession with light hits that you would hear in doctor's offices and stuff. So, but that's the thing. I mean, I realize there's a lot of people that talk about living with purpose and stuff and not just paying bills. And it's the sort of thing to think about. But at the same time, though, with the way things are around here and how so many people, for whatever reason, they just don't want to have any kind of work ethic whatsoever or have any concept of joining something bigger than yourself. There is constant turnover, even if the job doesn't totally suck. Somebody comes in, they're a whiny little, doesn't want to work, doesn't want to do, does the bare minimum, and they quit in 2 weeks. And these places wonder why they can't field successful teams. When you run into somebody who actually has a constructive attitude that actually wants to develop professionally in terms of what they do there, they're like gold. You want to hold on to them and don't let the toxic people drive them away. I'm just having a little too much fun with this thing. I dug it out, so kind of catching up. Should put some oil in it too. Whoops. It's like the last fidget spinner left over from the 2017 fad that I have here. No, I'm trying to have a conversation here, so it's off camera anyway. It's kind of down here somewhere. Well, it's a thing. So because of all this that's going on, I know warehouse work isn't glamorous, and some people still stereotype warehouse workers as being, you're stupid if you drive a forklift. Yeah, well, guess what? I mean, how much money do you think you can cobble together trying to start a small business when you could make close to $20 an hour driving a forklift somewhere because they can't get people can't get people to do it, so they have to keep raising wages. So they can barely keep the building running. Someone with a better attitude, why not? I've taken my hand-eye coordination with video games and applied them to heavy equipment, and it's actually worked out better than I thought. I'm just a perfectionist, so it takes me a while to get up to speed on something because I don't want to break anything, but it's just one of those things. So what's before me right now is a serious dilemma, especially if that furlough's on the table. If I can get like 2 to 4 weeks off of work, that could be a way. All right, well, let's talk about the current dilemma. Where I am right now is flexible. I can do YouTube stuff very easily with it. If I went somewhere that pays more, I'd make a lot more money, but I wouldn't have the kind of free time that I have because of where I'm at. So if I want to finish paying off the student loans, if I want to, make money that's closer to what I should have been making coming out of school and whatnot, it's at one of the bigger places. And there would actually be advancement opportunities and more use for my skills too if I just get in the door, so I'm not a total stranger and I can internally bid on a position instead of having to be an outside applicant at one of these bigger places. So I'm actually thinking, go do some like rudimentary stuff for these folks just to get in the door and then watch the bid board to bid over to something involving data processing or something along those lines. So it's something that it's a nagging curiosity that I've been very seriously thinking about doing. And these places are having a hard time staffing up, so this is the best time during the Great Resignation to do such a thing. The thing is, though, what if it doesn't work out, you know? So with these month-long furloughs, there is always the temptation with them these days, especially post-pandemic supplemental unemployment, or should I say, what did I used to call it? Stimulus unemployment back in 2020? There's the issue with stimulus unemployment and everything. Well, no longer stimulus unemployment. There's the temptation to try one of these bigger, harder places where there's more hours and more money and then just quit if I don't like it. Where I'm at right now, I've got down pretty ice cold. So, theoretically, I could join the temp circuit or something, go somewhere and make more money than I make right now, and if it sucks, just don't stick around. Can't say I haven't thought of that. Problem is, though, if it works out and I want to stay there, we're probably looking at more hours, more money, yes, but also more hours. So that would pretty much destroy this channel. I don't know if I'd ever make videos ever again. So there's that. It's all coming down to opportunity cost, what I was talking about earlier. You can be upset with YouTubers. You can be upset with YouTubers and Twitch streamers for trying to monetize what they do, but the truth of the matter is, in order for them to exist as content creators, they are sacrificing the ability to have a second job, and probably, until they get to a certain size, make more money with that job, even if it's minimum wage. I can work part-time at Subway making sandwiches for people, you know? Post-pandemic, things are quieting down around here, especially Connecticut, doing relatively well even compared to the rest of New England. So I could I could have done better with a minimum wage job than YouTube earnings. That's the thing. It's just these people that complain about YouTubers want to join the partner program and monetize, or Twitch streamers who want to become Twitch affiliates and monetize. They're acting like we're all a bunch of super rich Scrooge McDucks or something. But the truth of the matter is, if you run the numbers, especially with Twitch and their infamous 50-50 sub split, you run the numbers, I can tell you right now, I make more than some Twitch streamers and their sub revenue who have hundreds of concurrents by working a dumb job at a place that needs it. And that's not even like full 40-hour weeks either. Because in order to make minimum wage on Twitch, you need a couple hundred subs and you need to maintain that consistently throughout the entire year. So then run the number. We did run the numbers on that. To make a decent middle-class income, you have to get into thousands of subs consistently. You have to keep not just all that many people watching, but all that many people sub to you consistently throughout the year. So I don't think people realize the scale that's involved with making money, making videos, or streaming. There's a reason why all these streamers are constantly trying to make more money elsewhere. They they start a Patreon, or they go to OnlyFans or something, or Fansly, or some more SFW answers to OnlyFans, or they will have a separate Patreon, even though they already stream, make videos, do other stuff, for special exclusive stuff that you can buy into in order to get with a monthly fee and whatnot. There's a Patreon in particular. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they were going to go out of business a year or two ago because I just didn't see how they could possibly make any money. Somebody in charge at Patreon is basically rebranding Patreon as the unique content portal form of social media where you can actually make stuff and upload it to Patreon as content, not do it through a third party like YouTube or something. And then just, have people come in and pay the fee to see it or something. So if you make stuff, you can actually host it on there now. I think that's what happened with Meowko, actually. She got banned from Twitch for a bit because Twitch thought that her pole dancing interest was a little too suggestive, and then Patreon approached her about making content on Patreon, having a Patreon page. So I just remember when Patreon was just kind of like a way, think like GoFundMe or something. I just remember when, Patreon was like a GoFundMe type setup, but apparently nowadays they're trying to get into hosting their own content, so things are done through Patreon or something. I have to check that out. I don't do anything fancy on Patreon because I never really wanted to get into the whole crowdfunding thing. My involvement in Patreon just predates the channel memberships feature becoming more common on YouTube. So after the next round of tech videos or so, or something like that, I should turn that on finally. Of course, I said that 2 or 3 sets of tech videos ago. So, anyways, so the dilemma is stay involved as a content creator because where I'm at right now is flexible enough to do that, or go to one of the bigger companies around here and have more abilities to have a career in the offline world and run at and basically give up my time that I now have in order to work on this other stuff. It's a really tough decision. The other part of this, too, is that the 9-to-5ers that I'm at right now are not doing well. They've done a darn good job trying to disguise the fact that they're struggling. But, I mean, they're struggling to staff up. They're struggling with staying competitive as far as wages go. I think they're getting squeezed because they're an underdog now. They used to be one of the biggest employers around here, but now after the leadership changes and being bought and sold and they're basically... They're a lot smaller than they used to be as far as their clout goes. There are larger players around here that pay more and have more to offer and can offer more because they're just bigger in general. So the question is, my dad was the kind of person who was like, I'm going to ride the horse till it drops. And then when a place he was working at went out of business, he had a hard time getting anything constructive anywhere else because people thought that he was lazy. You work at some dive that barely stayed open for the last 5 years, then finally went out of business. Why should we hire you? So, I am not my father. I'll tell you that. I'm not trying to get a job that's easy enough for me to watch my kid catch the bus in the morning. So, history is not repeating itself with me in that area. I don't need to feel like I have to take a lesser job just to be more of a father to some kid. It's not happening. I don't know if I even want to bother with kids. I mean, with what my generation has been through, even if I did get together with like some 20-something-year-old girl and we had a kid or something like that, I don't know. I don't even know if that would even be worth it, given that it's been like multiple generational setbacks for me. So you have all the crap from boomers to millennials, then you had the Great Recession, now you have the pandemic, and now, of course, we have inflation and other stuff being caused by these wars that are getting started and stuff like that. It's like unbelievable. I mean, why can't we just have peacetime and prosperity, develop technology, and make our way in the world? Why does there always have to be this adversity everywhere we turn? It's just like, come on. So, as much as I could take that furlough and do a lot with this channel, make up for last year's lack of stuff because of all the extra medical appointments, I could also take that, go someplace that's harder and pays more, and if I don't like it, quit and come back to what I'm doing right now when the time is up. If the place sucks, quitting cold turkey and burning the bridge shouldn't be that big of a deal if I don't ever want to go back there again. Or maybe try something different. It doesn't even have to be like trying to move up somewhere. Just try something totally different. See who needs help and go do something completely different and pick up some skills that way. Or do flex work over the internet now that sort of thing's available for things like database programming and stuff. So I can, jump on Fiverr or something like that, or do graphic work or something, even though I'm not really a graphics guy. Some graphics folks are following me on Twitter because of my really nice ESO screenshots. I think that's going to happen on Instagram too, but I'm really not a graphics guy. I just retouch things and make things look better. I'm like, oh, that looks good. I just have an eye for that kind of stuff. It's part of the multimedia thing. So it's Picasa actually is my big program that I use for that, and Picasa has been obsolete for years. So this is what I'm looking for feedback on, either in chat, comments, or both. Excuse me if you heard that. A little bit of indigestion. Had a little fun with supper tonight instead of the usual. So probably do more vegetables and stuff over the weekend. But here's the thing. I'm actually looking for feedback on this. If not in chat, then definitely in comments if anybody has anything to say about this. So you really think I should go for, you know, making more money and having more of a career at the expense of less videos and less streaming. Or try to keep doing this to pick up skills with this to see if something else opens up. Because let me tell you a little something about my involvement with warehouse work. My involvement with warehouse work, despite my credentials, is a product of the Great Recession. And that was over 10 years ago. The layoff period was exactly 10 years ago, when I was just doing things here and there to try and keep a roof over my head when there were no jobs and nobody was hiring. So it's a different world than it was, obviously. Pay's gone up. The ability of places to staff up has gone into the toilet. Things are definitely different than they were 10 years ago. So in terms of warehousing and stuff like that, it's just something I could do in a pinch if there were no other opportunities available. I think there's opportunities I can pursue. Another thing, too, here in Connecticut, the pandemic is in eclipse at this point. Omicron had its wave in January, but things are free-falling even still. BA2 slowed that down a little in Connecticut, but things are back to dropping. Now, basically this week, the schools and school buses and stuff like that, the mask mandates have been dropped. So I'm just looking to see if things swing back in the other direction now that people aren't wearing masks anymore. But there's tons of vaccination around here, even vaccination coverage and stuff like that. And we just came out of Omicron, so we probably have a couple of months where a lot of people, even if they're not up to speed on their shots, have some kind of infection immunity to play with. And then we'll see if there's ever some other major variant and when that pops up. But as it stands right now, this is probably a good window of opportunity to try new things. So, I mean, the 9-to-5ers have done all they could, but they can't hide the fact from me that they're struggling. They can't hide the fact from me that they're squeezing, that they're getting squeezed. They can't. It shows up in little details, like things that don't get fixed, fixtures that don't get repainted, little maintenance tasks that don't get done, soap dispensers that don't foam soap all the time anymore. It's like dumb little details point to these folks are just struggling. So as much as I get to do a lot of YouTubing and streaming and stuff with these folks, long term, I don't know if that's really a good idea. So it's a real mess to try and figure all that out. Now factor that with the antagonism that I still receive on YouTube for saying what I say, talking about the meta stuff that I talk about. And it just complicates things even more. Let me check this stream in particular. Oh no, the dumbass hasn't showed up yet. There's somebody, I know they're subscribed to me because if I leave streams unlisted, they'll do this too. There's somebody that every time they come online and come over to my channel, they go dislike every single stream that I do. So it looks like they haven't stopped by this or the one before it yet, but I'm sure that'll happen soon. And it's something where I know they're just doing it just to be a dumbass about it. So if I have like 12, 13 hours of streams and suddenly a bunch of them all get dislikes all within at once like that, like I'm going to believe that somebody's really making an informed decision about whether or not my stream's any good, watching it after the fact, by the way, with like 10, 12, 13 hours of streaming in that little amount of time. It's just the same exact crap as before with videos. You get people that are like, watch this, click, and that's that with that. So, but the antagonism that exists with YouTube and stuff like that, it's just insane these days. People don't really realize just how they have a role to play in this ecosystem, even if they're not making videos. Being good to creators is actually a really good thing. It makes people feel like they're not wasting their time. But at the very same time, too, you know, money is a part of this. Because everybody who makes videos or streams or whatnot is probably giving up something more lucrative until they're a certain size. Same thing, too, you know, in the offline world, people that play in jam bands or they're starving artists or whatever. People that, you know, do stuff for fun. Maybe you like what they do. Maybe you think that their little band with their friends sounds good and you listen to their music. But the truth of the matter is, the time they spend making that jam band that plays in bars every other weekend or whatever, the time they spend making that and stuff like that, we'll get to that comment in a second. The amount of the amount of stuff that's going on with this is just, the time they spend making that jam band that never gets anywhere, that never lands a record deal, that never gets played on the radio or whatever. That's time they could have spent like doing a minimum wage job at Walmart or something and probably make more money off it. So what do we have here? Too bad you can't just be like poofed and ignore it due to the stupidity known as YouTube's algorithm. Well, YouTube's algorithm would be amazing if it actually did what it was supposed to do. Think about it for a second here. So I get a video, I upload it to YouTube, and it gets 10 views. I spend hours putting the video together, editing it. I actually drop my own money in most cases on better cameras like the Sony I bought last year and stuff like that. You know, in the Elgato box and stuff. You know, I try to be somebody on here and it gets like 10 views. And I'm supposed to believe that in this big, wide world with lots and lots and lots of people with lots and lots and lots of interests, that only those 10 people that watch the video that's it. You know, I don't buy that for a second. Same thing, too, when I radically change genres, too. Especially when YouTube goes around saying that videos are evaluated individually with algorithms. It's not like a channel-wide thing where if you've uploaded a bunch of videos that haven't gotten views, your whole channel gets shut down. It's more based on like the content and whatnot. So, just one of those things. I mean, the YouTube algorithm is a wonderful idea. It just doesn't work very well. Think about it for a second, especially as other platforms play with algorithms too, like Twitch, for example. I was introduced to a hilarious chat streamer this past week because of Twitch's version of algorithms, introducing me to smaller creators who have stylistic similarities to the larger creators that I already enjoy. So here's somebody, smaller setting, they're friendlier, they don't act like a stuck-up minor celebrity of sorts, thinking they're bigger than they actually are. They're very personable and likable. And I was introduced to their channel algorithmically. Heck, they even were playing Tetris the other night. One of those big, like, player versus player Tetris games. So I jumped in on that, found out how terrible I am at playing Tetris with a keyboard. Especially with the fancy stuff nowadays where you see the block along the bottom and you have fast drop, slow drop, etc. I mean, that's what algorithms really should be about it. A matchmaking service that hooks people up with audiences and catalogs content and stuff like that. You don't see that on YouTube, though, when your channel gets down to like 10 views and whatnot, a video or something like that, or 20 views or something, or you watch stuff that used to get 500 views, get like 100 views, and you know that people are still interested in it, but the truth of the matter is you're supposed to believe, apparently, that nobody else will ever be interested in your kind of video ever again because of whatever algorithmic reason. It's just ridiculous. So, plus here's the other part of this. The fact that there is a robot between you and your ability to have an audience or feel like you're amounting to something on one of these things, the fact that that's a thing means that you can't look to yourself for your successes and failures anymore. So you'll have a video get views, you can't take credit on it because it just went viral, that's why. Oh, something fluked and the algorithm sent it to a bunch of people and now it has momentum that it didn't used to have. And then when you do something poorly, you can't say, oh, that video didn't get views because I failed. You have to take into account the video might not have gotten views because the algorithm didn't pass it around. And then there's the subscription system. I thought that this was just a conspiracy theory until it happened to me directly. But yes, it is possible in rare circumstances to get unsubbed from channels you don't watch anymore. With me, it was the Glove and Boots sketch comedy channel. Hadn't watched any of their skits in a couple of years, and then I was reintroduced to their channel and noticed I wasn't subscribed. I was like, wait, I was subscribed. I like these folks. Just the algorithm stopped showing me their stuff, and then years later, now I'm unsubbed. But not that it matters whether the systems are unsubbing you or not anyways, because even if you stay subbed, you'll still have trouble seeing what you want to watch. And how about the research thing? Do we really need to switch browsers over to incognito mode to research something on YouTube every single time? Because if you search for an answer to a question, the algorithms now think you want to see that stuff all the time, and they stop showing you what you actually want to see because you have more search traffic. Because you have more search traffic with the stuff you looked up once to like fix your faucet or something. So much to do here. Fortunately, YouTube's not the only fish in the sea when it comes to algorithms. Twitch has been working on them too. And I've actually been getting introduced to stylistically similar Twitch streamers that way too. And I may get to the point where I just get sick of the big folks and, well, actually, it's already happening. So with Twitch, people talk about mid-rolls on YouTube. Twitch has a form of mid-rolls to their ad scheduler, and they're unskippable. And they can be programmed in, and then Twitch can turn around and give their partners stipulations in their contract for a minimum amount of ad density. In other words, they must play a certain amount of ads every hour that they're live on Twitch. And so what that does to the experience is maybe there's some streamer that you really like, that they were big and you were glad they were successful and you like watching them. Well, now you can't because they don't use the snooze button or whatever it is because of their contract stipulations. And so they get themselves interrupted by the Twitch ad scheduler playing a mid-roll in their stream. Blah, 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 chat. Here's what I'm doing. What I'm going to do this weekend is, goes to an ad break, 9 ads for like 3 minutes or whatever. So, ad 1 of 9. Oh, cool, because I'm not a subscriber now. I mean, you could pay for Twitch Turbo. Yeah, who even knows what Twitch Turbo is? It's more of a thing where, oh, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, well, how many Twitch streamers do you want to be subbed to? And don't forget the problem with the $5 a month thing over on Twitch is that there are channels that charge $5 a month and networks and stuff like Paramount Plus or whatever, the Plus services that are going on that are charging $5 a month for access to a bunch of shows and a bunch of live stuff versus one streamer whenever they feel like streaming. Actually, I think, didn't Twitch recently put in a refund thing for subs? So if you buy a block sub for 6 months, then the streamer quits streaming, you have a way to get some of your money back? Yeah, so it's a changing world that we live in. And because of the fickleness, I mean, the thing is, though, even if YouTube wasn't a barren wasteland of doing everything possible to sink your ad revenue, which is the way you support creators for free, by the way. Although I do have to check the numbers on YouTube Premium these days. I'm getting a hint that from people that YouTube Premium might actually be better than ads these days, from what some people are saying. I have a hard time believing that. But there's just less traffic. That's why the numbers are lower. So I got to take a look at that. I got to take a look at revenue per watch hour on that. I have a hard time believing that because YouTube has dynamic CPMs. Whatever they can auction the ad space for the ads, that's variable versus a flat rate and whatnot for someone to be a YouTube Premium member. So I don't know. I think some of these people saying that YouTube Premium is better for creators than ads they don't really have a lot of business sense or don't pay attention to their numbers. But I gotta check that first. Regardless, though, the fickleness of the internet basically means that it's probably a better idea as a content creator to leave these full-time content creators, like these big streamers and whatnot, stewing in their own juices and seek your fortune elsewhere. So, as much as I've had fun doing this, I could also have a career in the offline world, working for a company where there's more going on than this place I'm at right now, which has flexible hours, but not much else. So, that's the huge dilemma that I got to figure out, especially with the 1-month furlough and stuff. Because this would be probably the one time where I have an easy out and go back to something I'm already good at, like doing, and actually enjoy. But, satisfy my curiosity with other opportunities, and then just don't quit if it doesn't really work out. I don't know, it's hard. It's hard given the circumstances for me to not want to try that for the month or so that's going on right now. Because I would actually make more money doing that than collecting unemployment and working on the YouTube channel. Really hard. A lot of these places are direct hiring too, so no messing with temp agencies or anything. Just, if I'm like, hey, it's too hard for me, can't do this anymore, I'm too old or whatever, just call it after like 2 weeks. So, very tempting. Plus, though, I mean, if it doesn't work out and I go back to these folks, I'll at least have satisfied that curiosity. So I don't need to have it nagging at the back of my head. But the truth of the matter is these folks are an underdog company now. They're just not doing as well as they used to. So it's just a matter of they're having trouble with talent as it is. But I'd like to, I'd like to not be curious and ask what-if questions, because I know there are some places around here that I should have nothing to do with. They treat their people like garbage, they're unsafe, and they churn and turn. Those people I already know I want nothing to do with, but there's some other folks that are not that, but they're also not where I'm at that I'm curious about. So, it's a real toss-up. It's just crazy. Like, why is this? Oh, because I had the mouse there. That's why. All right, so regardless of what happens, though, here's what I want to do for the rest of 2022. We talked about videos, streams, and stuff from streams last year. So that's the 3 things I do on this channel. I want to put short form into there as well. videos made from scratch. If you're on YouTube, you should know what videos are. Streams, of course, is this. Chat streams. Also, I want to differentiate streams. I want streaming to be more of a thing that I push for in the early evening hours, so more people from North America can tune in without staying up half the night. YouTube is more popular than Twitch in Asia and Russia and some parts of the Eurasian continent, India as well, where there's people that do more with mobile phones. But I don't really want to be catering to that part of the world because culturally I'm from a totally different place. Even tech stuff. I mean, I've tried to watch some tech channels from India, and I don't know. It's just I've tried to watch a few tech channels from India, and I think they emphasize different things because of the cultural differences between us and them. But it's not like American tech, that the American tech video scene's all that much better. You know, I talk about the toxicity that I've dealt with because of a couple of things. First, these are computer nerds we're talking about. I'm one of them. Our social skills aren't necessarily going to be the best in the world. We tend to be introverts, and we tend to be not all that great at knowing how we come across to others. But then there's the antagonism, though, from when you build a computer and somebody doesn't like the way you did it, and they pick apart everything you do. Like, oh, you're wrong to not do this. You're wrong to not do this. Da-da-da-da. So then there's the antagonism where the primary antagonism I deal with in my tech videos is that, you know, I'll build a gaming PC, people will watch the tech videos, then I'll stream video games on it, and people won't watch that. So they don't want to see the results of what we made all those videos about. You figure it out. I'm not going to try to. So there's that going on. But then probably the most telling, most recently, as of when I'm talking about this, the most telling example of tech video toxicity would have to be that mess that just happened with Artesian builds. Here's a guy acting like a stuck-up little snot, changing the rules of a contest on stream. Like, no, you're too small of a streamer to win this computer. Stuff like that. Lol, I know I love watching both, but that's just me. Yeah, well, that's just me, too. So there's another problem, too, and the reason why I say what I say about the antagonism that I received is that I know not all of the problems I have on here are antagonistic. This content creation stuff has recreated the cable TV problem. It's way too easy to watch, to know about content creators you know, respect, and want to watch more of, but just don't have the time to do it. Or in the case of live streamers, they constantly conflict with each other. So just among the one genre of streamers, Korean IRL chat streamers and whatnot, because I'm night shift, I see a lot of streamers in Asia because they're out doing stuff during the day while it's night over here. And it's really cool seeing the cultural differences and how different cultures do certain things, like US versus Thailand, Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, Japan. It's kind of cool, you know, get a nice little view of the world that way instead of being stuck in your bubble when you're from the woods of Connecticut. So, but I can tell you, just from among Korean streamers alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's like 6 or 7 people that I can think of off the top of my head. I'd like to watch them all, but they're often stepping on each other's toes, or there's something else going on at the top, or the stream times aren't right. And with Twitch, there's no culture of watching things after the fact. So it's also really hard to dig around and watch VODs, especially when Twitch loads them up with unskippable mid-rolls half the time. No skip button either, so it's a degraded experience versus watching on YouTube if you're an affiliate or partner. So you'll try to, let's see how this was. Even the thing, like, I often watch streams after the fact by arrowing around if it looks like a dull part. So, of course, YouTube, you have chapters, so you can put stuff in for VODs on YouTube if you do, like, if you're a VOD barfer who sends Twitch streams over to YouTube. But yeah, I love watching both. That's just me. I think a lot of, but yeah, so there's logistical issues with that too. And then there's, of course, the increasingly mobile world where people are watching your videos through a smartphone speaker because they're just going around on their phones. Maybe a Bluetooth, maybe some earbuds or something, but you have to take into account someone that's just lying in their room looking at their phone. Can they even hear what's going on? It's just like the radio problem all over again. Radio had this problem, and now YouTube does. So there are logistical sides to all of this. And because of the crap that I've taken over the years on here, I have this terrible, terrible tendency to think it's always something malicious even when it's not. So it's just something else. Like, it's 3:30 at the Geek House right now. 2-1, half past midnight. If someone on the Pacific Coast didn't want to stay up into the wee hours of the morning because, I don't know, they're a day shift person, it's Wednesday into Thursday, so they're not done working yet, should they really go into work on 5 hours of sleep just to watch my stream? No! And that's one of the reasons why I do hybrid streaming. It's why you'll find that my stream times are lower than these Twitch streamers that wander around and just stall, as they call it. Because, I want these to be listenable after the fact, like their radio shows. I used to do that when playing World of Warcraft, doing my daily quests. I'd have some on-demand archives of podcasts that I would listen to, or radio shows or something. It'd be like 1-2 hour things, and I'd listen to the guy talk for 2 hours while doing my dailies. It's one of the inspirations for what I do with the chat streams, too. The other thing, too, with the no thumbnails on my chat streams, that's vintage YouTube that I'm nodding to right there, from back before fancy thumbnails were a thing. So, chat streams are kind of the descendant of vlogs back when it was just you talking into a webcam about what's on your mind. So that's basically it. It's kind of retro in that respect. Yeah, so videos made from scratch, it's YouTube-y stuff. We should all know what that is. Streams, split them up. I want streams to be more of an evening thing, and I'll do more experimental or chat or speak my mind or stuff late at night in a more relaxed environment like this. And then people can just catch it the next day if they're not a night person. So stuff from streams, if there's a part of a stream that really sticks out that I think should be its own video, do that. Use the cloud editor to save a copy before it's done processing and make a YouTube video out of that. That's basically my way of testing out the cloud editor too. Then of course, video streams, stuff from streams, and then we gotta figure out short form. I think something good for YouTube Shorts, but I need a new setup in order to do this. Something that would be good for YouTube Shorts would be answering questions from comments. People ask like questions about technology or something along those lines, or just respond to things or react to things. Is 1 minute tops. So, but folks want to ask questions and stuff like that, and I make YouTube Shorts answering questions. That'd be kind of cool with that. Another thing I want to change for 2022 would be videos. So we got the tech videos, but they are what they are. Legacy format. For those that are not familiar, legacy means something's basically the way it is and it's kind of dated. Wacky World of MultimediaJay is a 2010s thing. 2013 specifically. It kind of evolved into something, but I don't really think it's worth iterating on given what it is, especially in today's algorithmically driven YouTube world. It has a character and a charm all to itself, and it tells an ongoing story with tech projects, but I think, I think the tech videos should only be a thing when I actually have something to do with, when I actually have something to tinker with. I have stuff to do that's backlogged. It's another reason why I'm considering this furlough and erring on the side. Another reason why I'm considering this furlough and erring on the side of collecting unemployment and working on the channel. What's that rumble? It's 3:30 in the morning. It should be too late for the graveyard shift guy who drives the rumbly car to be going out to work. I don't know. Yeah, so this isn't an apartment either, so I can be talking like this and I'm not going to disturb somebody. I sound tested the house when I first moved in, so unless someone's creeping around outside my window, they shouldn't even be able to hear me. So videos, I want to have something similar to, if you've ever seen Tech Yes City, he does a mix of videos and streams, and he also does chat stream style videos where he records a video with streaming gear. That's something I think I want to look into. So answering questions, opining on things, talking about things, because streams have a hard time getting to the point because they're live. If I want to have something that's edited and stuff like that, then that would be a good thing for this. I think, my videos used to be called the MultimediaJay vlog back before it became an actual tech video series. It basically was the same thing. But it used to vlog as well, and I used to have a formal vlog up until a couple of years ago. The chat streams kind of replaced what the vlogs were, but considering the definition of what a vlog is has changed on YouTube, for a great example of this, the daily vloggers are a wonderful example of this. Because that, I'm thinking maybe, bring back the name and have it be about, for example, talking about topics and stuff, things that are more algorithm friendly. Maybe responding to things here and there, talking about stuff, and shoot for a target time of like 5 minutes. So, but actually, I really can't say this is anything new because Tech Syndicate did this like 10 years ago. So the whole console killer PC type discussions and stuff. Actually, I think I have one of those in my classic YouTube playlist where Logan was talking about a build a console killer PC for $300 that competes with the Xbox One. So that might be something worth checking out. So we'll take that in that direction with videos. Streams, see if we can make it more of an evening thing for more people to tune into NA on the NA side of things, especially with the games I'm going to be playing. Most of the folks who already know me are from the US, some EU for the most part, a little bit India too, and some other places around the world. But the other thing I want to look into, cool, we get South Korea into the mix. I'm a night shift guy, so why not? Annyeonghaseyo. So, the thing is, though, the tech videos are basically what they are. If I want to have something in the videos categories, and you may have seen this with like the quick go flicks, the food videos, the reviews and stuff, it should be simpler and more to the point. So I think a basic reaction and talking about stuff should be done with the streaming gear. Some people hate the fact that I started streaming on Twitch in 2020, but as far as Twitch goes, I'm having a hard time thinking of what I actually can do over there. It's mostly because of the things that are Twitch specific, like the ban streamer rule. So on YouTube, if you get your live streaming disabled on your channel, you can actually get your channel terminated because of circumvention if you try and use another channel in some way to stream, but you are the one that is constantly in the crossfire. On Twitch, that extends to whoever you interact with. So if I'm banned on Twitch and I go over a streamer friend's house and I'm on their stream, even just sitting there, that my friend can get banned from Twitch because I'm on there. I think that's a step too far. And there's some people that everything, their views on online media are skewed by Twitch. They think Twitch is the standard, even though it's small, niche platform, has no real clout outside of streaming. They got streaming right, and they're the biggest streaming platform out there. But in terms of an omni-media platform like YouTube and Facebook, they just don't compare. And even in terms of active users, TikTok is bigger than Twitch. There's a Statista thing, we've talked about this before. I could look up the more current one, whichever the most current one of that is, of biggest social media platforms in the world. I think Facebook's the biggest when you factor in Facebook plus Facebook Messenger. But you can look up like Statista and stuff, biggest social media platforms in the world and stuff along those lines. Twitch is never in that list. Twitter is, TikTok is, some other services are, but not Twitch. Just shows, just how small it is. Big on streaming, small overall. Yeah, I like, though, that Twitch is making some progress on some things. So the Twitch channel, I might try some things there, but the biggest intimidator is the banned streamer rule. You get banned on Twitch, it kicks you out of the services. You don't get to watch anything. You can't take part in people's chats. I mean, if I make a mistake on stream and get banned, I don't want to be, barred from being able to be the friendly guy in like Yugi's chat or Tyongi's chat or Jay Streezy's chat or something like that. So it's not really, if you get into the Twitch ecosystem a lot as a viewer, it's not really worth it to be a streamer because you lose too much if you get banned. So it's not really worth it. So as much as there's been some friendly people who've given me shout outs on Twitch, and I got to Twitch affiliate playing retro Super Nintendo games and stuff at the end of 2020, I don't see any real reason to try and push beyond that. And Twitch has actually been working on their discoverability. They have a very robust left panel menu. That's probably what brought about this whole thing that YouTube's playing with the live circles on mobile. Well, I'm gonna have fun when that goes to desktop. Maybe I should look at YouTube through BlueStacks. See if I can see this. See if I can see this on BlueStacks. Problem is the screen's sideways if I do everything on BlueStacks. I'd have to use the rotate button to set it to lorizontal mode. But I might just do that. Set to BlueStacks, display resolution 1080p. We'll look at YouTube through the mobile app and watch YouTube videos that way on BlueStacks. That might be worth checking out. Yeah, but That's the thing with that. So yeah, YouTube, obviously the center of what I do. I want to get the channel membership set up at the $1, $3, and $5 a month mark, so you can be a tier 3 for the cost of a tier 1 over on Twitch. But I would have to do some behind the scenes streams like this late at night, working on assets for things. Another thing I'm thinking of trying out with one. I don't know if Twitch has ever thought of pushing for this, given someone doing this will bring in revenue for them without using a lot of their resources. Take my emote slots on Twitch and try to make emotes that people want to use in multiple other channels. Like, don't make them like MultimediaJay emotes. Try and like animate something, make a bunch of animated emotes, and try and make it to where people want to sub to my Twitch channel just for the emotes. I wonder if Twitch has ever thought about that. Like, digital artists make Twitch, even if they're not interested in streaming, make Twitch channels. Let them become affiliates and let them grow on Twitch via emote slots that people want to buy a sub to have access to, or use Twitch Prime for that, or Prime Gaming as it's formerly called. I wonder if Twitch has ever thought about that. Imagine if Twitch had a setup where graphic artists who didn't really want to stream could actually do everything based on emotes and become known for emotes, and people see an emote, that's cute, oh, let's go to this channel, oh, have something there where, oh yeah, I don't stream, but if you like my emotes, toss me a sub. I'm curious if there's people that could actually do that. I've heard there's some folks that do, but they're not very common, but make good enough emotes that I can tell you that some of the folks I've subbed to on Twitch, their animated emotes I think are useful outside of their environment. Like Yugi, for example, her cat Pildu, little like Persian, gray, fluffy Persian cat. She has an emote of her cat doing this with the glow sticks. I think it's cute, and it's not overly, related to her unless you know what her cat looks like. So I go in other people's chats with that emote, and they're like, oh, that's a cute cat. They have no clue about the streamer at all. And then the biggest one. This is huge. I'm surprised Tyongi doesn't jump on this. Tyong Popcorn, the holiday variant, a snowman eating popcorn, has nothing to do with her Octobutts mascot, whatever, I don't know where she gets that Octobutts thing from. So, has nothing to do with that big pink octopus that she has for a mascot. But people just love the snowman. They don't have any idea about the streamer, but they loved the snowman. Now, of course, the holiday season's over. The snowman's been reverted back to a big pink octopus eating popcorn. But I should go put that in her Discord. See if she's ever thought about doing that. Bring back the snowman popcorn thing. Have it there year round. That'd be a reason. See if people will sub just for those emotes. I don't know. When you get selfless with emotes, if you have a really good emote that might be popular outside your channel, why wouldn't you consider that? Excuse me. And why wouldn't Twitch encourage that? Indigestion, baby. 342 at the Geek House. Why wouldn't Twitch consider that? Think about somebody who's just doing an emote channel on Twitch. They'll have fans. They'll have sub revenue coming in for Twitch, but they won't hardly stream, if at all. So Twitch makes money off of sub revenue, pays out little money in operational costs because these are artists who aren't streaming. Why isn't this more of a thing over there? You'd think they'd jump on it, given their limited resources for things like transcoding and other stuff that very blatantly earmarks them as a smaller platform versus YouTube and Facebook. Why isn't this more of a thing over there? I don't know. And so YouTube, we talked about that. Twitch, we talked about that. Twitter is kind of just Twitter. Instagram. As much as it's limited because it's made for phones, I'm putting some ESO screenshots over there and people like them. So I'm going to keep doing that. We'll put some other pictures over there as well, but I will have an Instagram presence. It's just that Instagram is fickle. You can lose your account for stupid reasons, so I'm not going to get too serious with it. If you almost forget your password, you can get locked out of your account and essentially ban yourself because your Instagram gets taken down if you can't get into your account, or if it glitches out and won't let you into your account, as I recently found out. So we'll do that as well. As far as the Patreon goes, we got to deprecate that thing. I don't have any real use for Patreon. Everything Patreon does, I can bring over to something like YouTube. I can set up memberships. Super thanks is basically a dono button. Super thanks is basically a dono button, and of course there's supers during streams, which some folks have stopped by, and I appreciate the support. So let me just cash out the Patreon and deprecate the thing. So it'll be there, but only for the people that very explicitly want to donate through Patreon. Thing is, though, you have to provide value if you want to earn money. So I have a mixture of tech videos, other videos. Some of them will be related to tech topics. Streams will be gaming and chat and behind the scenes. When I stream determines pretty much what it is. I want the game streams to be more of an evening and weekends thing, if I do that kind of stuff at all. But I guess the biggest, and of course there's Twitter and Instagram and the blog will be their own things as well. They all have their niches. Every form of social media that I'm involved with, there is something that it does better than everything else. Except maybe Twitch at this point. But Twitch has Twitch Prime, and I could also do the thing with the emotes too. If I want to make some beautiful animated emotes and pass them around, maybe start using them in Twitch chats. It'd be funny, you know, if people came over, if I could, you know, it'd be hilarious. I'm a nervous wreck about streaming on Twitch because of the banned streamer rule. Imagine if I made some wonderful animated emotes and grew a following on Twitch because people like the emotes. I think I got to try that now. Got to get some pixel art things and, you know, work on my technique with pixel art and making animated things. Maybe make some like cat eating popcorn or something for people. This is something people can use. And it doesn't have to be specific to what I do, but it has to be something people want to use elsewhere. Interesting. So that's basically it. The biggest decision, though, that I have to figure out is, do I want to make a lot more money and have advancement opportunities and the ability to have a career in the offline world, or do I want to save that for if I get laid off or something where I'm at? Hopefully things don't swing in the other direction before then. Because right now the pandemic is in eclipse here in Connecticut. The pandemic is in eclipse. The great resignation is a thing. If there's a time when I want to make a big move like this, now's the time to do it. The question is, how do I get all that to work? I can tell you that I do want to be involved somewhere that's big and established and not just doing everything on my own, because the most reliable jobs come from those kinds of organizations. A lot of people like to say nice things and root for the underdog with small businesses, but if you look at the numbers on how employment has fared in America, the longest lasting, most opportunity-packed, stable jobs out there have come from larger companies. It just depends on what the leadership at the top is doing and how much they're stomping on the little guy. So that's really it. That's where the channels are all at. If anybody's still awake, or did I put you folks all to sleep? If anybody, we'll give it like a minute or so because Logan, well, no, he was deliberately running in DVR mode. So if there's anything else anybody wants to talk about, let's do that. Otherwise, let's go on off and, well, I got some stuff to do now. So here's what I'm looking to do. This is what a good day looks like to me. And we'll do this, see if we can do this during the furlough if we take that route. Any official business, phone calls I have to make, chores I have to do, go out to the grocery store or something like that, afternoons to sunset. Streaming will be early evening to mid-evening at the most, into the night. Videos, night, until I go to sleep. See, one of the reasons why I'm here in the Geek House is because it's a house. There's no neighbors through the walls. And so, the fun part is, this is what has worked out so well for Jay's Geek House here. What's worked out so well for this place, besides is that I've sound tested the place, like I mentioned earlier. You need to be creeping around outside my windows to hear me. So there's no chance, even with the subwoofers going, there's no chance of me disturbing anybody. Unless my window's broken and I don't know it, and somebody else has their window open and they're like, "Hey, shut up in there. It's 2 in the morning, or I'll call the cops." Or maybe the cops will just visit me directly. Never had them show up once, though, except when I had a phone accidentally dial 911. It's one of those things where the emergency call button glitched out and it called 911. And so they're like, "Yeah, we're going to call from a phone that can only place emergency calls." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. One of those smartphones with no service that I use as tablets called the police." Woo! But that's the thing. So with streaming and broadcasty type stuff like this, I have wonderful noise filters. I don't have that on video. I have, and for the most part, the Sony Handycams I use, none of the microphones that I've gotten have really been able to replace tuning the built-in microphones really well on those Handycams. So nothing. I do have external mics that I can play with if I want to try more stuff or buy another lavalier and try again. But for the most part, we're just recreating what it's like to be over my house. I might be off to the side talking while you're looking at my computer. The headphone users don't like that. They'd rather have me drop it down to mono. But use like a virtual surround, and it's like you're here. That's what I'm going for. You're looking at my computer, and I'm standing off to the side talking. It's exactly like it would be if you were over here. So, but that's kind of its own thing. It's a legacy format. It's not going to change very much because people like it as is and don't want me to mess with it if it's not broken. I'm actually thinking, excuse me, of going back to like more heavy metal sound to it after the current season ends, but I haven't decided when or if I'm going to do that. So yeah, videos are better off late at night. Unless I want to be like rise and shine to the EU crowd, because at about 5 or 6 hours, it's mid-morning. It's mid-morning over in the EU right now, but when have I ever seen EU people show up in the morning? Never. I've seen EU people show up in the evening, though, when they're wanting, because, I mean, this is recreational stuff. You want to get up, have breakfast, the coffee kicks in. The get up, have breakfast, the coffee kicks in. Stuff like that. Go off to work and then come home and enjoy some stuff after work in the evening. Now, unless you're watching stuff on your phone when you're supposed to be working, I don't want to get people fired. So, a good day for me will be official stuff up until evening. Stream in the evening if I want to stream, and then late at night to when I go to sleep, work on videos because it's nice and quiet while all the normal people are sleeping. And get away from this thing. I mean, unless I'm working on something behind the scenes and I'm like under cover of darkness like this, so to speak, then we'll take a look at that. Unless I'm doing something along those lines, don't really stream late at night anymore. Work on videos instead. Just push more towards this whole thing. I work remote, so good thing about that, I can stream like crazy, lol. Yeah, that's another option I have too if I don't want to mess with these companies around here, is flex work. But I can pick up flex projects anytime I want. I am a vampire. Join the club. I live in the night, indeed. So, same here. I make fun of NFTs in the middle of the night. I don't know. I think NFTs do have a purpose if you're a digital artist, though. You know, if a work of art that you do is never going to exist physically, then yes, you should be able to sell rights to the original. Just like a physical painting, you can have the original Picasso, or you can have one of many, many remakes of it or something. You know, somebody owns the original when it's physical. Why can't it be that way for digital stuff? It's just there's some screwy stuff with NFTs that I'm skeptical of, like streamer NFTs. There are services out there that are trying to get streamers in NFTs so that cool moments from their streams can be sold as NFTs. So, but here's the problem I have with that. A non-fungible token is supposed to give you ownership rights of something. If somebody buys an NFT of some cool moment in some streamer's stream, why can't they just turn around and DMCA the streamer? They own the rights to it. I got a feeling there's got to be some streamer somewhere that gets trolled by that at some point. That there would be somebody who will buy the NFT just to take that off. That there will be somebody out there who will buy the NFT because they want to erase that thing from the internet. And then they will DMCA them and show their NFT as proof that they have the rights to issue a takedown request. It's a jackass move to make, but they can make merch of the pick. What if somebody else owns the rights to the pick, though? So, well, a lot of streamers don't have good business sense, but who the heck would ever sell an NFT of a key stream moment if there's a merch thing involved? So streamer A makes an NFT of some killer moment when they won a League of Legends tournament or something. Person buys NFT, they own the rights to that moment. Now they make the merch instead of the streamer. That's another thing I think streamers are going to crack down on when they're like, wait a minute. If this is monetizable, why am I selling this? Because there have been examples in the offline world of artists who sell away stuff that there are artists in the offline world who sell away the rights to stuff and they regret it later. I don't know how many folks are familiar with V Westlife. He's one of those old-fashioned YouTubers who I think could do more than make videos, but he does videos about retro electronics and radios and stuff like that and other things. One of the things he did a video on recently was re-recorded songs, where an artist goes back into the studio and does a re-recording of a famous song of theirs. Depends on what the rights are, but a lot of times they lose the rights to the original recordings. So they go into... they lose the rights to the original recordings or whatnot, and because they signed them away and they wish they didn't. So a singer in the 60s signs away to their rights to a record company for a killer song. They can't make money off the song anymore, but they have the rights to be able to make it, to re-record it later when they're older and they sound older. So they try and make money off of that. So that's really it. Me, I hope you're not saying you do nefarious stuff to mess with streamers, Mike. So I guess the big thing I gotta do is stop thinking it's always something malicious when I see stuff like tech videos versus gaming videos, things along those lines. But Bored Apes caught on because it's simple and mass producible, easy enough to make different every time. Well, that's a derivative work. So if an NFT gets sold like of MS Paint Gorilla, and then everybody else puts like different clothes on. Oh no, watching V Westlife. Woo, good. I don't want to be encouraging dishonest behavior. YouTube has something in the community guidelines about that nowadays. I'm telling you about these things because I think they're going to happen, because I know people can be real slime balls. So let's switch the music out to jazz. I don't need this deep sounding stuff just because I used some kind of other stuff too, by the way. No, I just think it's going to happen because I know people can be total jackasses about stuff that they would do something like that. Switch songs. There we go. A little more Charlie Brownie type sounding stuff. I guess the thing is, too, because of the whole war in Ukraine going on and stuff, this is what I call Geek House Solidarity mode with the blue and yellow. It doesn't exactly look right. It looks like I'm running candle lights instead. But, yeah, it's not really all the best. But yeah, V Westlife, he did a thing recently about re-recorded songs. Here's the thing, and I got to put up a comment talking about this. I wonder if V Westlife has ever considered that he might be AVGNing these re-recorded songs he hates by making a video about them. Because if I hear a horrendously bad version of some classic rock song from the 70s or something, and I'm like, oh, something like this exists out there? Let me go search YouTube and see if I can find it on YouTube Music. I know what he's talking about, though. There's was it Thunder Only Happens When It's Raining? What was that Fleetwood Mac song? I remember hearing a live version of that old song, and one of the ladies in Fleetwood Mac, she was like 30 years older, and her voice would not hit those notes anymore. So I was like, oh, that is not the note, but she's older now, so she can't sing it anymore. I'm like, oh, this is painful. Yeah. I've actually seen this, though, with some other artists, too, where they did, like, screamy, screechy music and destroyed their voice and stuff. Did you watch Smiling Friends? Nah, I'm not familiar with it. So, but that's something I'm wondering about is I wonder if V Westlife has ever thought about this whole thing. Oh, Lindsey Buckingham, all right. Yeah, so, I don't know. It could have been Stevie Nicks for all I know. But that's more of my dad's generation. I just heard it on the radio growing up. But I know what the song sounds like because I heard it all the time when I was growing up because the parents controlled the radio. But as all the parents controlled the radio. Then I hear this re-recording of it, and it's like, oh, they can't hit the notes anymore. It's horrible. Then there's bootlegs and stuff, like when these old bands go to the casinos and stuff and they do shows, and they're like 60, 70 years old just milking it. So you know what the weirdest one is? Rod Stewart. That was a 70s hit he had where, if you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on baby, let me know. Apparently in his like 60s and 70s, he was still singing that at his shows. I'm like, oh, boomer, total boomer. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. One of those nose candy addicts. Yeah. Drugs. Did that just get us demonetized now that we're talking about all this rock and roll lifestyle stuff? Not that it really matters anyways, because YouTube's been doing a much better job. YouTube's been doing a far better job. No. Lucky. YouTube's been actually doing a far better job with this kind of stuff. Yeah, so let's see here. YouTube's doing a far better job with the edgy advertising they want for people that aren't as advertising friendly. I still think YouTube should try to move beyond advertising. Work with more like monetizable things like channel memberships and stuff. The problem is just getting people to understand that a channel membership is better than a Twitch sub, because you're supporting someone regardless of whether they stream or take a break and make videos. Oh, you like Susan Wojcicki? No, I think the big thing is, I mean, she seems like a nice person, but her background is in marketing. So that's why there's such a gigantic emphasis on marketing since she took over the company. Now, she seems like a nice person, and she's an OG at Google. But the problem is, though, she seems kind of aloof compared to, what it's like to be a YouTuber if you're not already established. I mean, okay, you interview with MatPat or something, somebody who has a gigantic channel, who has critical mass and momentum, even though I've seen these people complain that they don't get the views they used to as well. It's like, that's a cop-out. Like, how about you try interviewing somebody who's trying to amount to something and starting from square one, and see what it's like when people just wander into your platform and promptly get bewildered by it. It's like, then there's Mr. Beast. Holy crap. He's like, I took a small channel and I did some, what is it? What was that called again? Consulting work, that's it. I took a small channel, I did consulting work for a month and they grew. Yeah. The before picture showed the channel got 4.6 million views in a month, and he took it higher than that. That's not exactly growing a channel when it's already established like that. Of course, the problem is that as channels get bigger and bigger on YouTube, people stop being wowed by certain numbers. Like when Psy and Gangnam Style got 1 billion views on YouTube, that used to be a big thing. There's even a little thing that they had, the guy dancing next to the view counter. Yeah, this thing. Roar. Well, my desk is from the 80s anyway, so it can take a beating. I'm not going to take off the coating on top of it with a fidget spinner. I need some heavier duty tools for that. It's not even bowing as a desk either. I've seen so many desks start to bow if they have a monitor on them for too long. Not this one, though. Interroyal, made in the USA, circa the 80s. My stepmother used to have it, and she gave it to me to get it out of her basement when I was, I did schoolwork on this desk, for Pete's sake. So it makes me loath to get rid of it. Something I've been thinking about with the project area, too. Take this desk over to the project area, fix the little side thing with the drawers that I broke when I was like 8, because I put books inside of it. Have you been watching the new South Park? I'm not a South Park guy at all. Plus, if it's on pay TV, I'm a cord cutter, so South Park does have some streaming available through streaming services. Speaking of which, I gotta check and see if I still want to keep Peacock around. I picked it up just for the Super Bowl. So, familiar with some South Park humor, though. Little couple of things here and there, but when I was growing up, South Park would have been one of those shows that my stepmother would have not wanted me watching, because she was like that. Yeah, so... It's on HBO Max. Oh boy, HBO. Woo! I should consider that at some point. There is a YouTube channel that has like highlights and stuff, some of the biggest skits and some specials. When there was a COVID vaccine special, I took a look at it. New season is good. South Park's not really my kind of humor though, because I grew up in the 90s with lowest common denominator humor, going for the easy jokes. People who put a little bit more thought into their jokes and you think about it a bit, I find that to be a bit funnier instead of just going for the easy gag all the time. HBO Max is worth it. Oh no, I'm getting sold HBO Max now. It was NFTs earlier. Ah! I can't say, though, that commercial stuff hasn't really been something I've been curious about, though. I'm seriously wondering, well, if I ever made a Delosaurus t-shirt on, like, Teespring or something, that's obviously trademark infringement. If I can make a meme, oh, what's this? Oh, yeah, you tripped the auto mod, by the way. I was like, I just noticed it now. Yeah, the comment you made about bored apes and stuff. Well, I don't want YouTube getting all SJW on me, so we'll leave that off the log here. Yeah, don't forget YouTube has an auto. Don't forget we have an auto mod. Now there's an auto mod on here just like there is on Twitch. So yeah, you can actually you can trip that pretty easily, but it's way over there, so I only just now noticed it. But yeah, if you don't like the apes, me neither. I just use a different word to insult that idea. So plus I've known a few gay folks in my life. So actually I lived next to one when I was in college. So I remember people were making fun of me too, like, "Oh, you live next door to the gay guy in that suite?" And I'm like, I'm not his roommate. He was actually, him and his boyfriend were actually pretty civil people. They behave themselves and stuff like that. Then, things along those lines. Actually, this is the heydays of the boy bands we're talking about here. His boyfriend actually looked like one of the guys from like NSYNC. That's probably why he was going out with him. So, it's just the thing where, but what about the noises coming through the wall? They were polite about that too. Just like any other couple, you don't want to be keeping someone awake. You don't want to be keeping something awake no matter who you love. Actually, I had a friend in college. He got out of his zone. He got an apartment. He called his neighbor Thumper. 3 guesses as to why. Lady upstairs from him, she was above him in the apartment place. He referred to her as Thumper. I'll leave that to the imagination. Yeah, it's the stories you hear because, so I mean, yeah, politeness knows no boundaries when it comes to who you love and who you're attracted to. This is the thing. Don't forget, folks, for anybody coming in from backgrounds not like mine, I have a huge perspective on things. Worked with folks from all around the world and stuff, and all walks of life. I've spent decades trying not to be a naive dumbass. So I tend to get part 2s of stories and things along those lines. So even with the angry stuff that's going on these days, where the angry wokesters on Twitch and Twitter hate you if you're not as angry about some cause as they are, still try to get, the more level-headed folks pushing for their stuff would support. Just a matter of not being in. I basically want to be the opposite of Archie Bunker. It's just, yeah, that's one of the things I'm running into though these days, that a lot of people, they just run their mouth without thinking about it or not knowing the part 2 of the story and ending up with their foot in their mouth. So the my bad thing, come on, I've seen that from a lot of other things as well. This is YouTube we're talking about though. I should not be surprised if a company based out of California leans a little to the left. I mean, Connecticut leans a little to the left, and then California has even more regulations. I would not live in California though. Connecticut, yes. California, no. I don't think I want to be wading through bureaucracy with people that write up legal regulations for bed sheets. Yeah, it's some sort of thing where to protect, homemaker or folks that work in hotels from injury. They put regulations on bed sheets that they must have this tag and that stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not so sure I really want to have that that much bureaucracy in my life. What do we have here? I live in Cali and wish I didn't live here. Well, the thing with Connecticut is Connecticut has done a really good job with the pandemic. Yeah, we're a blue state, but there are Republicans out here, mostly in the woodsy towns like where I'm at. The thing is though, we had high vaccination and everything was spread out a bit. Everything was spread. Weather is the only good thing. Well, yeah, that's the thing. We have humidity around here because we're less than an hour from the ocean. Where I understand California routinely has lower humidity, but I don't want to be dealing with those droughts or anything. But even in the pandemic, California is like the Nancy Pelosi state. It's like the model left-wing state to so many people out there, and yet the vaccine coverage was uneven, mostly in the built-up areas, and all the other stuff here. Hartford Whalers. Yeah, I remember the Hartford Whalers too. I remember the Hartford Whalers when I was growing up. I went to college with some guys that cried when the Hartford Whalers left. So, Boston Bruins are still around if you want to deal with Massachusetts folks. Sucks though. Connecticut is like the state in New England that people don't really make a big deal. Or southern New England anyways. That people don't really talk a lot about. I mean, we got Mystic Seaport. Hartford used to be the insurance capital of the world, but in this day and age of outsourcing and crap and automating jobs to computers and stuff, I don't know. There might still be some insurance places in downtown Hartford, but you think about Massachusetts, Boston Red Sox, New England Patriots, Boston Bruins, Boston Celtics, all the, the culture, the accent, the rough around the edges working class thing, even some of the union stuff that goes on up there, regulation on bed sheets. Yeah, they do that in California. It was a way to protect like the homemaker type workers from injuries and stuff. Holy crap, you're up late. Don't want to be a VOD frog this time. But yeah, so we sure have wandered away onto a tangent with this state of the channels thing, but that's what that's one of the reasons why I don't want the chat streams to be totally about the relaying of information, because videos would be better at this kind of thing. Regulation on bed sheets, yeah. But okay, so yeah, Connecticut, kind of the forgotten state. You have Massachusetts with all that it's known for. It's, Boston Red Sox, New England sports, Parc the Con, Harvard Yard. Then you have Rhode Island, Family Guy, weird stuff like Dell's frozen lemonade or coffee milk. Instead of putting milk in your coffee, you take a glass of milk and squirt coffee syrup into it and mix that up, and it tastes different than coffee with milk in it. Autocrat, if you ever see, those of you from elsewhere, especially you Logan out there, Autocrat syrup, that's what you want to look for if you ever want to try it. It's a Rhode Island thing. Coffee milk is actually the official beverage of the state of Rhode Island. And then there's potholes galore and other stuff. There used to be Rocky Point until about 30 years ago. Now it's used to be like what is it? That place in Los Angeles down on the boardwalk. Kind of like a Rhode Island version of that. So I think the biggest thing that Rhode Island's known for is basically what Family Guy is based on it. So, hey Lois, give me this. No. Don't want to get too crazy with the impersonations. 20th Century Fox used to go wild about that. I don't even know how to spell the state with a C. Nah. What, the People's Republic of California? I've heard that before. So, not going to make fun of Nancy Pelosi too much. My dad cracks jokes about how she's his dream girl if he wasn't with my stepmother. I'm like, what the? You're not even into politics. Why the heck are you? I don't know. The big problem I have is some of these older politicians that can barely still speak. Come on, let some other folks take the reins. It's like, I realized the baby boomer generation was activists all over the place. They did great for the East one. You mean like Connecticut? CONNEC. Where Gary Delabot is from. Now you guys have lost me. Or lives. Or lives, or from or lives. Must be a sticky key or something. But yeah, so maybe we should get back to the others, to something more pertinent, like Connecticut kind of being the forgotten New England state. So we did really well with the pandemic. I mean, Governor Ned Lamont is like a wooden, nerdy accountant type. He is from the southwestern part of the state, if I remember right. Or is that Dan Malloy? Yeah, previous governor could barely speak right. Was like a nervous nerd all the time. Baba Booey. Do you have something with Howard Stern? Man, that's one of my when I'm not doing this blue and yellow thing because of Stand With Ukraine type stuff. Oh, this looks like I'm running like a campfire over there. The more of the blue stuff's kind of inspired by Howard Stern taking his show on TV. But yeah, so Connecticut, high vaccination, spread out coverage, unlike California, unlike New York. COVID is in eclipse here. The Omicron wave is over. We're dropping regulations all over the place, and we're in better shape to drop regulations than a lot of other states. I mean, northern New England still has something going on. I don't know what the deal is with Maine lately, but it seems... Let me see if it's still the case. COVIDactnow.org. See that. Look that up there. Let me see if it's still on top. This thing has geolocated stuff, so not going to put it on screen. Keeps having things where it's like, oh, you're from this state and this county. Yeah, northern New England. Let me see. What was the number that... Control-0. Get me back down to normal size here. Highest cases per 100K right now is Northern Marianas. Idaho. No. It was... Maine is third in the country for COVID cases per 100K. They have the highest infection rate. That's what it was. So everybody who's still getting Omicron up in Maine, on average is infecting more people than anyone else in the entire country. The good news is it's 0.98, so the virus is losing ground just very, very slowly. So the way that works is if it's 1, everybody who gets infected is infecting another person. So it's playing steady. Less than that means it's losing ground. More than that means it's gaining ground. But Maine, what the heck is it with northern New England still having a COVID problem? I know that New Hampshire has a lot of libertarian stuff in it, the free state and whatnot, but Maine? Some folks I've known who didn't want to retire to Florida retired to Maine instead. They wanted to be like more rugged, like outdoorsy, rustic stuff, even if they have to deal with more snow. But yeah, so what are the top states right now for infection rates? Because that's the determinant of where the cases are going to go. Idaho's in second place. The Northern Marianas Islands, well, it's a small population, so it's kind of wild there. If I flip it the other way, though, Connecticut's in the top 10 for lowest infection rates in the country. Or did we slip out of that? No, I think it was cases per 100K. We're 32 for the infection rate at 0.66. But that is still Omicron in free fall. I think it's the other way around. For lowest cases per 100,000 residents. Yeah, number 8. That's it. But yeah, we don't get credit for it. We don't really get credit for that. But that's the thing. With everything going on, that's why I'm looking at opportunities and other stuff here, too. Is, should I do more with what I know? Or should I, give up on this YouTube stuff and do more in the offline world? And then just make videos if I can find the time. The thing is, though, this is pretty fun, though. I mean, unless something radical changed with, like, these folks going out of business. The thing that I didn't mention in any of that discussion earlier, though, is sometimes part of being successful is finding decent people to work for in the first place. Now, if you can't find a job that makes you enthusiastic to where you hate going home in the evening, find one that's at least tolerable, that you're not dreading going to every single day, so you don't have that much extra stress and whatnot. Because these folks are the underdogs and they are in the same boat as all these other places that can't staff up, it's easier to be more appreciated there. Just go in there and be a decent person. And if you want to do more than that, you'll be appreciated even more. Some of this even extends to the way you treat others, too. There's some toxic people who are getting treated way too well for how they treat others because they do a lot of work. So, this is the case in a lot of places where you go. But with everything going on in this area right now, that's also part of the problem there. All right, anything else that anyone wants to talk about? Just become a professional gamer. Not in a million years. That's part of the problem with Twitch game streamers. They wonder why they have mental health issues. It's because they've taken something like Ninja. Ninja is not a professional gamer. Ninja is just professional at knowing how to be in the right place at the right time. He's a professional Fortnite player, I know. But if you want to talk about where his success came from, he was involved with Fortnite when it was starting to take off, became known, developed a following. He was making YouTube videos years before he became famous. And then there's some bozos out there who are like, it's because you made YouTube videos for 10 years. No. The big thing was Fortnite. Isn't that his biggest game right now? Selling them. The big thing, though, was Mixer. Because he obviously had a really good lawyer when Mixer shut down. Because of that, he was able to score himself a huge payday, and now he can basically do whatever the heck he wants. You see, last 365 days for Ninja over on Solinome. His biggest game is, in terms of hours streamed, is Fortnite. How about average concurrence? Fortnite, 15,511 concurrence. Next biggest one is Rust, followed by Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, League of Legends. So he has the battle royales in the bag. Just chatting is like 8,500 concurrence. But Lemon Thou, strange that Mizkif is bigger than Ninja. Fun part is he has a positive trend line over 365. Can we hook up browser mode for this? I know Solinome doesn't have geolocated stuff here. What was my browser mode too? That was from fooling with the other stuff the other night. System status. No, that is not what I want. Try that again. Status messages on your stream status. Woo! That's more like it. Ninja, Solinome. Oh, This thing's over his picture here. Let's see. Well, we just do this with it then. Picture. Let's put that down there in the corner. Do we really need to see the dark mode slider? Probably not. Yeah, so he's trending positive. I suppose if we want to throw in a multimedia meta discussion, we could do that. Yeah, he's trending positive, but I think that's because the games he plays has changed too. Let me look at these 209 streams right here. Fortnite. When he first came back, he was playing like Final Fit. Yeah, Apex. He was basically returned to what people know him for. He did more of a mix of games earlier, even playing Final Fantasy 11. Yeah, so now we deal with an issue here, because one of the things I did, he streams once a week. I've tuned into a couple of his streams here and there, but it's not really, I'm not into Fortnite at all. I have Apex Legends downloaded, but I've never run it. It's one of those Steam games that I've never actually fired up. So let me look at something now, because before I went live, Tongi was talking about her numbers. She was upset about her numbers, but I think she's missing the forest from the trees. Yeah, negative 365 days. But let's back things out a notch. Get it to go back to 2019. Because I think the thing she's missing is the pandemic bubble. Yeah, January 2019. She started streaming. Oh, look, little Twitch affiliate. Gained some traction in early 2020. Gains a lot of traction when Ginny comes back to Korea after the S-Fan thing. We see a little up and down type here. Overall, she's mounted to something. The problem is, what you see with these people is they get upset about this when this is higher than this. And they have actually made some progress. Let me actually bring up with the same time period her, the alpha of the bunch. 2021, Ginny for, let's see, go back to like start of 2019. I know she had a feedback loop with her Taiwan thing and whatnot, but here's 2020. I mean, no, the lockdowns, the reason why that was such a great thing for her is because everybody was in lockdown. They were stuck home watching streams. The more there have been restrictions and stuff, the less people are able to do with IRL and stuff. But now, of course, with Omicron and Eclipse and stuff like that, at least in the US, I understand it's still a thing in Europe and definitely parts of East Asia, especially Vietnam and Korea. I was looking at some case numbers out there. But as the world emerges from the pandemic, we're going to see these numbers drop for a lot of different streamers if they don't have something else going on that gets more people interested in them. Let me check out S-Fan, for example. I know he started out doing WoW, and then he got into Cletus Cornwood, GTA RP, things along those lines. February. So here's 2020 for him. This is a little too far back. Does he have anything resembling... Let's do 180 days. Do you have anything negative here? Yeah, he has a negative trend for 180 days. How about last 365? Slightly positive, but he has more of a mix of stuff these days. But in the last 6 months, though, as Omicron came and went, he's actually swung negative. So let's see. Live control room, we can bring that back up as well, by the way. Cool. People are still checking this out. Let me see. Let's think of another. Not somebody who's like big and stuff, but how about someone who does IRL? Jay Streezy doesn't stream consistently enough to check that with. Let's see. Let's see. TV. There you go. She has the same thing going on. Little ups and downs to go along with the pandemic. Go back to the beginning. Yeah, see, there we go. March, boom, and then some things here and there. She had some other issues as well. Let's see. Who else? See. How's Heel Mike doing? He's relatively new. He's a party streamer. Bring this back. Did he have the same thing going on? Yeah, look at this. Except with his, there was a little something going on in 2019. But if we can bring 20... Let's bring 2020 into the picture here. Let's see. End of 2019. Yeah, see, he has a negative trend as well. So he's partied around during the pandemic and everything, taking some breaks from streaming here and there, but basically overall, it's negative as things start to get back to normal. So how many other streamers do we want to check this with? I suppose, yeah. Give me another pop. Well, Ninja's going to be broken up by the mixer thing, so he shouldn't be part of this whole sample set here. I don't know. Hey, live control room is lagging out. Better check OBS. Ah, good. I was hoping the internet didn't barf. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Yeah, well, enough of that nerd stuff. So, the reason why I looked that up is that I caught Tyongi's stream before coming over here, and she was upset about her numbers. Truth of the matter is, there's going to be a negative trend across a lot of streaming right now because of a lot of different reasons. Probably turn the music down a hair. I'm hearing nothing but jazz in the headphones. It's down to 7% like a tech video. So, here's the rest of the story with all of this. There's a lot that's happened, particularly on Twitch, as Twitch has tried to work on their algorithms and their discoverability. And this is the sort of thing that I think a lot of these established streamers need to realize, that number one, the pandemic bubble is bursting. Number two, the streamer bubble is bursting. Some streamers that used to stream a lot more than they do, or they hit the limit, so to speak, where they're grinding too much, and then they decided they wanted to do more. So they worked on a YouTube channel. They want to do more of a variety of things. They're working on a YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, etc., jumping on the short form revolution with TikTok and stuff like that. And sometimes they're kind of appalled that stupid little things can go viral on TikTok and bring people into their streams that way. Actually, more recently in 2021, I came across one of many what, you might ask? Internet arguments, of course. I came across another internet argument between a stuck-up streamer who was like, see, you can grind your way to the top. Look at me, I did it. I take a look at her socials. She grew on TikTok and got people interested in her streams via short form. I'm like, there's somebody who did this stuff with short form and not with YouTube videos. Interesting. Or Instagram pictures. So short form's coming into its own these days. Just got to do it in the right spot where YouTube's algorithms aren't going to mess with you if the robots on TikTok don't ban you. I don't know about TikTok, though. There's a federal probe checking out TikTok now, just like there was with Facebook and Instagram, about its effect on young people's mental health. So there'll be some negative publicity towards TikTok in the near future as this investigation goes on. Just read about it today. There's something where, whoops, almost dropped this old thing to the floor. It's crazy. Remember when these were everywhere, and then they were like on clearance for like 100 for $1 or whatever. I don't know. They're like 10 cents each or something when Walmart was trying to get rid of them. I don't know. This one had the best mechanical joint out of all of them. The other ones kind of seized up on me. That's why I still have it. Yeah. Wow. We've been all over the map with this stuff. But the thing is, there's a lot that's changed on Twitch that a lot of these streamers need to keep in mind. First off, you have the pandemic bubble bursting. Streaming bubble is going to burst as well along with that because people that would otherwise sit home and watch streams all the time, they're now going to go out on vacation. They're actually going to go out and socialize again as the restrictions get dropped. Things along those lines. I think the Thailand trip and whatnot is going to be the last hurrah for a lot of the IRL that we see. Probably the last big trip that delivers any kind of numbers for these people. Because why should you watch a streamer go to Thailand if you can go to Thailand? I mean, other than people with less money living vicariously through streamers who can afford to do the stuff they would never be able to do, or maybe there's something else, where's the audience? Then let's talk Twitch. I talked about the streamer that cracked up about my name. Actually, can we set up browser mode to play Twitch clips? Hook it up to Chrome. I had this on my Twitter. Let's load this up. And we'll cut the music for this. Set up browser mode. Let's go off to Twitch. There's a, not KDA. That was one of the things earlier. Not the anime thing that I linked earlier. Let's see. Stealth. There we go. Mute. I want to load this up on the Twitch page. Let's see. Well, nice to meet you too. So, when people... What's this? Something on Twitter? Oh, yay! Team YouTube responded to me. I thought they had me on ignore because I was getting a little snooty earlier. Let's see. What else on there? Hachu, da-da-da, something like that. XQC clip. This guy in the thumbnail looks like he's picking his nose, though. So... But why don't we just play the audio from that? Why don't we just play the audio from this? So, when somebody struggles with the name Multimedia, gotta get to bed, working at 8 a.m. What? Oh, yeah, you did that last time, too. Hey, sleep well, Mike. Yeah, so... let's see. Let's cue this up and ditch the music here. Why did I just turn that up? It doesn't make a difference going out to the audience here. So one of the most common ways that people mispronounce MultimediaJay, if they don't have a very good grasp of American English phonics, is MultimediaJay. And, maybe I should just link this up. No, you know what? Let's go to React mode. Let's go to React mode and let's link this up to Twitch. Let's link this up to this Twitch clip here. How close are we to being we're pretty close to being cropped properly. Yeah. Well, nice to meet you too. Let's just bring this down to here. And so this is a streamer called Yumyums, and she was the latest streamer that I was algorithmically introduced to via Twitch's algorithms. I think the reason why she was introduced to me is because Ginny used to go by Yumyum on her Discord and mention it in her profile. So here's somebody actually using that as her name, different person entirely. And, well, let's just play this. I don't think I've ever made someone crack up this much because they tried to pronounce MultimediaJay.
No, please don't do that. Oh, thanks for the follow, MultimediaJay. Laughing with the knife in hand sound joke alike.
What? Oh my god.
Oops. Hey, I hate to break it. I hate to break it to Yumyums here, but she's not the first person to say MultimediaJay or something like that. That's actually happened before. So, but the reason why I was introduced to her is because I was already watching a bigger streamer, and there was some kind of algorithmic thing and whatnot. Because the Yumyum thing, I think it was in the name, maybe the looks too. Maybe she's from Korea, but she's living in Canada with her fiance there. She has a Twitter and a YouTube and the whole 9 yards, like everybody that's on multiple platforms these days. But the thing is, Twitch has algorithms too. And let's not forget the most basic thing. I got to make a video about this. These platforms are always trying to introduce your audience to a replacement for you in case something happens to you. So it doesn't surprise me that Twitch is working on algorithms, even if they're not as refined as YouTube and do weird stuff from time to time like this. But at the very same time, I'm running into some entertaining people who are stylistically similar, or maybe they put a new spin on things and they do things differently than folks I already watch. So, was that a thing 2 years ago when I first started doing stuff on Twitch? Speaking of which, I do have the VOD of my first ever Twitch stream, or first stream ever, saved. I could do a reaction stream to that one of these days. It's not a really high priority though. But even with my meager improvements in gear with streaming, this webcam being most of it, even with everything I've done, I mean, it's just like, same as with videos. You get good at this stuff, and then you start laughing at your old stuff because of how cringe it is, because you just weren't as good at it back then. Experience really means something with this kind of stuff. But Twitch, yeah, it has a discoverability problem, and it has a saturation problem. But that doesn't mean that Twitch staff is just sitting there like, oh, well, they could rest on their laurels more than they do. But the truth of the matter with all of this is, the truth of the matter with all of this stuff, though, is these platforms should always want to get better, and Twitch is one of them. So there's things now that didn't exist a year or two ago. Not just the pandemic bubble bursting, not just people going out and doing stuff again, not spending as much time watching videos and streams, things along those lines. It's not just about that. It's about, first of all, more people bought gear. I mean, I have streaming gear where previously I didn't. Other people do too. I've even seen it on Facebook Marketplace. So people are having it and they're selling it because they want to buy something better. There's people that are people are stuck home learning remotely, doing remote Zoom meetings and stuff. They wound up with streaming gear. I've seen some people streaming on YouTube. I've seen people streaming on YouTube with their video conferencing gear. This is what they bought for work, and they're having some fun with it when they're done working for the day. So there's all this stuff going on, that's going to lend itself to the numbers dropping for lots of streamers. So whatever Tiongyi's upset about, she shouldn't be upset about it. There's numerous other explanations for dropping numbers for any content creator right now, besides anything that's related to what you're doing personally. And the other thing you don't want to do is get caught up on the dropping numbers, and then that takes over your channel. So there was one time when she had an issue with something and she blew an hour of stream time talking about it. And I'm like, well, the people that sub and whatnot, and they want to watch chat streams or IRL streams. So they're basically watching a business meeting for an hour. And where's the value in that for people watching these folks? Well, it's these little things and whatnot that you have to keep an eye on here. All right. Well, we certainly transitioned into the late night lounge from what this is really supposed to be about. State of the channel's in early 2022, but that's why I have the clickable. That's why I have the chapters, as they should be called nowadays, not the clickable program guides. But hey, I was doing this kind of stuff 10 years ago with my old podcast from way back in the day. Back when I was doing podcasts on YouTube. What can I say? It's been fun. So the big decision. Got to figure this out. If anyone has any feedback, leave it in the comments. There'll be a chat replay, of course, for all of this when this finishes processing. I'll leave it in the comments on that because I'm really torn on this. There's lots of things I could do if I take that month-long furlough, and the channel is only one of them. Could be the case that I end up in better shape because of career opportunities from going somewhere where there's more going on. But I don't think this definitely is not going to be, if I take this month off while everything's slow, should not be the case that I'm playing ESO for a month or something, or even sitting on the computer for a month. Not a chance. Too unhealthy. I'd be too out of shape. But even so, there's far better opportunities to pursue. At the same time, it'd be nice to make up for 2021 and all those extra medical appointments assassinating my free time for most of the year with 2022. Decisions. Leave feedback. Well, if anyone wants to leave feedback in the comments, they're more than welcome to. But I can say this, sometimes YouTube has this nasty tendency nowadays to feel like you're running up a down escalator. Like efforts that used to pay off before now don't because of magical little algorithms or whatever Grand Master Wojcicki's whims of the day are for everyone underneath her and stuff. But I don't know. Make stuff that's fun because you won't stick with the other stuff. And that applies on YouTube and pretty much anywhere else as well. Leave the stuff that you have to do for like day jobs and stuff. This isn't supposed to be that, last I checked. 4:37 at the Geek House. Let's wind down, call it a morning, and get going on this long weekend by getting up early. Hopefully I'm not too tired from doing that. Got some phone calls to make. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.